Perplexity Comet represents a revolutionary leap forward in how we interact with the internet. It was launched on July 23, 2025, and this groundbreaking AI search engine aims to transform browsing into curiosity-driven interactions with persistent AI assistants. We've talked about how Google's getting beaten up by the FTC. They have to separate search and the Chrome browser from Google itself because they have this monopoly and whatnot. And just at the time where all this browser competition is starting to come out, and Perplexity has a plan to take on Google at the browser and at the search level. But they're definitely the underdog here. What do you think, John?
Yeah. So you and I have talked about Google's AI results, right? So this is cool. So they're pushing the limits of what an AI-powered search can do by designing what they're calling an answer engine, which emphasizes conversational, source-back responses rather than a standard list of links. So unlike Google's ad-supported business model, what Perplexity is trying to do is they're trying to focus on delivering direct, trustworthy answers with cited sources. And I'll tell you right now, they're actually doing pretty good at that. So their approach is moving away from traditional keyword or keyword-based search, and it's already influenced how major competitors, including Google, are designing their products. I think Perplexity was one of the first ones to start doing this, and then Google hopped on and they added their AI onto it, and now Claude, and now all of these other AIs are doing this too. But the technical pillar that Perplexity's commitment to is kind of, they're calling it accuracy as an AI layer. So they iterate rapidly to ensure answers are up to date and free from hallucination, which is a known problem in LLMs. So the way that they achieved this was they combined multiple LLMs, including open source options, and incorporate strict fact-checking, context awareness, and deep web retrieval. And so they've been able to develop features like deep research for complex queries, which works really well. I've tried it. And they're also forming partnerships to pre-install its assistance on hardware devices. I think they partnered with Motorola and Samsung. So they're slowly like kind of coming up and becoming this well-known platform, if that makes sense. What are your thoughts on this, Craig? Because I know you don't use Perplexity too much, but what are your thoughts on this article?
Well, it's not that I don't use Perplexity too much. I do use Perplexity, but I use it mostly via API. Because I use different AIs for different things.
Yeah.
And I've had many discussions either at my Flowgrammer events or other thing. Everyone's like, oh, I'm using Claude and I'm now using OpenAI 3. It codes better, but it's slower. And I'm using this one. Like I use a bunch of them. And I use Perplexity for doing research for articles and whatnot. So I will call that in my workflow, say, okay, go out and do your research, use Sonar Pro, go out and do your research, come back with this information. And then I'll give that to, say, Claude to do some writing. With that information. And then I'll use something else to maybe wrap that writing in HTML. And then I'll do, so I use what's appropriate for the interaction. When you're doing development, you have different use cases and you'll use the code, that platform that works for you. However, I take a step back and say, I think the more competition is better. I think that these AI browsers are interesting, and we'll have to see how good it gets. When, the concepts are things like they don't use bookmarks. They replace that with persistent session memory across tabs and browsing history.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but if I have every day 30 browse tabs open all the time, doing all sorts of stuff, different things, what does that do for a long-term memory? Can you remember everything I ever visited everywhere all the time?
Exactly.
Or not?
So the one that I haven't had a chance to play around with because it's only for Mac members, but is their browser Comet, which I hear phenomenal things about. Have you heard anything about it?
I've heard some good things, but we have a note here, and this is a question I've had: is when does Apple just buy Perplexity? We talked about how bad Siri is, and
You know what?
AI situation.
That would make sense. They're probably the cheapest out of them all right now, right?
So we'll have to see. And well, they're not going after them. They're going after Midjourney. I was going to say so some AI lawsuits, but that's not Perplexity. I've seen good things about the browser, but I haven't used it yet because they're giving it out to Perplexity Pro users first, and I'm on the wait list, so we'll see. We see that OpenAI's got Agent, and there's a bunch of other AI-based browsers out there.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of automation-based browsers that let you do stuff with them, like Operator and Browser Use, and a few of these other ones. And they all are coming along, but I've been using a product called Skyvern for, I don't know, 5 years that does most of this stuff. It's maybe, I won't say way ahead of it because I get to have these filters that development teams been releasing stuff with it all the time, but these things are starting to leapfrog each other when you put huge development teams and huge AI engines behind the browser instead of just somebody building a browser that you would hook AI up to. So I think it depends your use case and all this, but we are definitely moving to AI browsing and this AI being able to find and gather the information for you in one place so you're not searching all the time. But the human condition is we love the doom scroll. So we're going to have to see, what's going to feed us that itch or scratch that itch for us if we're using AI to pull all this stuff together. But yeah, this is a new interface for us, right? These AI browser interfaces are going to go and pull all this information together for us. And I don't know how good that's going to be, especially when, the CEO of Cloudflare comes out and says, yeah, we're going to start cracking down on bots. We're going to start really making sure if it's an AI agent or whatever, that we're not going to let it through.
Yeah.
Okay. But we're all moving AI-based browsers. How's that all going to work? So we now have a war of, we're not going to let your AI browser through, but you don't know about my AI browser. I'm hiding that I'm an AI browser. And now my AI is going to use a different browser, pretending it's another. Like, we're going to have that funky stuff, and we'll have to see how that goes.
Yeah. But I think, so if you think about it this way, right? Google paid how much to Apple so that their search was the default search engine, right? I think Perplexity is taking a page out of that. They're trying to get pre-installed on phones as the native assistant and like taking the right path as long as they keep the quality of the outputs high. I think they've got a decent chance.
Yeah, because Google's not allowed to do that anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know when that is enforced, but they're not allowed to pay people to make their search engine the default anymore. That's anti-competitive. So
yeah,
I wonder if they're going to allow Perplexity to do, and other companies to do the same.
yeah. Well, Perplexity doesn't have a monopoly, right? Whereas Google did.
Yeah, but I have a funny thing. Like, why can one company do something and another company can't? Why can't I not pay you to do something, but this other company can pay you to do something? There's some finite stuff there that really kind of needs to be addressed, saying this is either a predatory practice or it isn't.
Yeah, true.
But maybe because they have too much money, that they set the bar, that they set this, there has to be third party involved, that we have to figure out. Because when you do stuff, when big companies love regulation because that builds them a bigger moat. New companies can't come in because they have to pay $1 million plus to just meet the regulation requirements, while the big companies don't care about that because it's easy, it builds a moat, they get more and more of that market. So this becomes that kind of situation. Was Google building a moat by saying, I'm going to pay you 40 billion or whatever it was to use us as a search engine? We all know that was 89% of Firefox's income. Mozilla's income came from Google paying them for search stuff. So what's going to happen to those browsers? So it's an interesting competition. We've got big names with big money doing this. The problem is, Google's the only one in this game making money.
Yeah.
So when I say in this game, I mean Perplexity, these AI tools, AI browsers coming out. Google right now, the advantage they have is they make billions and billions of dollars per quarter, and they can probably outlast the competition.
Yeah.
So let us know what you think about these AI browsers and this heating up, and who's going to be the winner here, and which ones are you excited to test? Which ones do you think the best are? Leave a comment below. So what do you got going on, John? This will probably be early September.
Early September. So, not much. I'll have some office hours at TBDC. Obviously, there's startup drinks in September, TechTO in September, and this will be in October, but Elevate. So yeah,
and we'll have Flowgrammer events as
Flowgrammer.
Yeah. So check a look at torontostarts.com, flowgrammer.ca for all that details. And you help people get non-dilutive funding, John. What does that mean? Who should reach out to you? How does that work?
Yeah, so unfortunately, there's a disconnect between what an actual startup is and what the government thinks a startup is. So you need to be around for at least 2 years if you're looking for anything other than a hiring grant. If you're looking for a hiring grant, those are easy to do on your own. But if you're looking for anything other than that, reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's the best way. But for any startup business coaching or needs, what do they do, Craig?
Just head over to torontostarts.com. Almost everything we do is over there. We help startups succeed. There's mentoring, there's templates, there's our workshops, there's grant information, there's programs, there's events, there's all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. And everything's over there. If you're looking to automate your business, use AI and automation tools to take your business next level, cut expenses, grow your business, check out flowgrammer.ca and the services over there. We also run an Inner Circle Builders Club where we're having our members building new stuff every week. If you're just getting started, if you're into that, if you need a team around you to help you consistently build and ship product, take a look at flowgrammer.ca and think about joining our Inner Circle.
Absolutely.
And that's it. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.